All right, everybody, how you doing? Bob Chick along with Peter McGough back in the saddle. We are back for another edition of TLR. Peter, great to have you back.
Great to be here, especially with my old friend there as the subject of tonight's interview.
Absolutely. By old, actually, of course, Kevin, we mean old. You know, we're like in our 50s now. So, Kevin Levrone, man, you're looking large and in charge, my friend.
Well, thanks, guys. Good to be here. Good to see you, Peter. This brings back a lot of good memories from when I first started. And Cicherillo, you know, so much history here between us, man. So
sure is.
I think this is a good time to do this interview. It's been long overdue, so here we are.
Well, what's been overdue, and obviously the first time in history, is Olympia contender such as yourself is actually coming back some years after obviously donning the stage for the last time. But, you know, the first thing that sticks out to me, Peter, is it looks like the Levrone shoulders are back.
Yeah, he's. I've always said Kevin has this ability to accumulate muscle faster than anybody we've ever seen in this sport. Now, Kevin, in the past, you've hinted at a comeback. You know, there's been noises in the past few years. Why now? Why 2016? Why is this?
Well, you're right, Peter. We kind of been hearing it for so many years, 7, 8 years, kind of like since I left the stage. It's why now is because I think the timing's right. I think the fans want to see change. Fans want to know if, like, well, you know, almost the battle of the eras. You know, I'm healthy. I think mentally my mind is there now. I don't have anything holding me back, but was just, hey, final decision. I think you know, like I said, this is something the fans want. They want to know if a bodybuilder in our era, which we always said those are the golden years, you know, those were the best times.
Sure. How
would a bodybuilder from our era stand up against the guy today? So this is kind of like the best opportunity to do this. I've gotten support from a lot of guys from my era, Dorian Yates. A lot of guys out there said, look, Chris Cormier, if there's somebody that could do a comeback, it would be you. So, I mean, this decision wasn't made overnight. It's something that I've been pondering on for the last 7 or 8 years. Bob, you know it. I've always kind of talked about it. Peter, I ran it by you. I ran it by Sean. I've ran it by Jermaine. I've even talked about it to my fans and everything. So when I went in 2000, well, this year, I kind of like went and got a full physical. And my x-rays came back unbelievable. And I was like, man, okay, that's cool. I said, I haven't really worked out in 14 years, 12, 13, which is a long, long time. So I went to the gym. Peter started training and everything. The muscle just started coming back rapidly. And I said, well, what if I change some things in my diet? What would I look like? You know, am I still able to gain 2 or 3 pounds of muscle a week like I used to? Because, you know, things change. Things do change. So, Bob, all those things started coming into play. And I said, okay, well, how much time do I have here? And at this time, I think I had about 6 months. And I said, you know, I think I might be able to pull this off. And then I went, you guys know I had my show, the Levrone Pro Classic. I had the opportunity to walk backstage, to size the guys up, to kind of see what they look like in today's time, how big they are, what they're doing on stage, filling out the personalities in this persona backstage. So I took all these things into consideration. I said, you know what? There's really nothing holding me back but myself. And kind of prayed on it and everything. So when all the tests came back and I just started seeing these signs, I said, you know what? It's time to hit the go button. It's time to hit the go button and give the fans what they want. So I made the decision, called Robin Chang. I said, I'm ready. And there's no looking back. So I came out of the gates, went down Pittsburgh, and talked to Jimmy about it. And we decided to go ahead and do it, man. So I'm looking forward to it, actually.
So when you had those guys up backstage, I'm guessing you looked at them as an executioner would look at sizing people up. Is that
well, Bob, you've been on stage, and Peter, you've been backstage. I mean, for me, this will be my 68th show. It's nothing new to me. I've been backstage with the best in the world at the top. So I'm not learning how to be a pro. I'm not learning how to put on muscle. This is something that I do, something that's of who I am. So yeah, when I go backstage, all of these things kick in, and it's very, very familiar with me. The persona and things that I see backstage are different than when you were backstage, when we were backstage, in the 90s and 88, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. And I mentioned to you this earlier. It's like, Dorian Yates was like a piece of steel. Ronnie Coleman's, Dorian Yates' persona, that's why they call him the Shadow. You don't see that. You don't feel that backstage now. Ronnie Coleman, he's this massive monster. So I said, you know what? Doing battle with those guys, and then you go backstage now, and it's just kind of, I can feel it. I feel like, you know what? There's something missing here. And if I can bring that back and present that to the world, present it to the guys backstage, take that on stage doing the compulsory, the presentation, how we would just stand there in the lineup, for 30 minutes straight, fully flexed. You know what I mean? There's no time to bend over. There's no time to smile. There's no time for any of that stuff. And that's kind of like that's the era where I came from. So I want to see what that's going to do and up against today's bodybuilders. And that's exactly what it is. So I want this. It's going to be a battle of the eras, man. I'm looking forward to it. I think I can pull it off. I think I'm actually head of the game right now. So it's going to be exciting what happens in Vegas.
Well, Kev, I got to ask you this. Now, to me, I'm going to split you into two people. There's Kevin Levrone, and there's the Maryland Muscle Machine.
Right.
And you've been Kevin Levrone now for the last 10 years, whatever it's been. A slimmed down but still in good shape version. You've done acting, you've done music, you've done all these other projects and adventures. But it was as a different person, literally. Now you're back to being the Maryland Muscle Machine. And I want to know, how does that feel? Like, how does it feel being one of the best bodybuilders in the world again, walking around, training, what you're seeing in the mirror? How's the mentality of that right now? Is it cool? Is it interesting?
It's actually, it's very, very interesting, Bob. I mean, when I begun the process back in January, you kind of almost don't know. But I wake up and I see changes, and I said, God, man, I don't know if I could pull it. There's days when you have doubts.
Sure.
There's days where, everything in my body aches sometimes. But there's a reason why it's aching. It's not aching because it's wore out. Those aches and pains and adjustments are coming because my ligaments are strengthening. They're getting bigger. My tendons are growing. The joints are kind of like, getting used to handling the poundages. The bones are getting stronger in areas. My muscles are forming around, my spine, and things are happening with my shoulders. My personality is changing. So every single day I wake up, I feel different. In the beginning, it was kind of like a tough struggle because I wasn't used to growing so 2 or 3 pounds a week. That's a lot. Sometimes you sleep longer. There's days when I go in the gym to where I train now to where I don't have an appetite for about 4 or 5 hours, but then I sleep 13 hours. So all this stuff is taking place with what's going on with my body, and all at the same time, you still have to function as a human being. I have my supplement company that I have to run. I have my son, so these are adjustments and things that my body is going through now that I've never had to do or go through these things before. But at the end of the day, when I wake up and I get on a scale in the morning, or I take my shirt off when I'm in the mirror, brushing my teeth, I see really drastic changes. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing to see your body kind of change before your eyes. And, it just goes to show that as long as you take care of yourself, this is a healthy sport, eat right. I never really abused my body to begin with. And I'm looking forward to it. I feel good about it. And I told Peter earlier when we did our interview, Peter, I said, if I had more time training the way that I do, I would probably run out of gas. my body's not built to do this all year round. It's built to do it rapidly at a quick pace for a blast short period of time. I could go 100%. So that being all the gauged in from this, all the experience that I had, 11 years, I think I can pull it off, and that's why I made the decision.
So Kevin, I mean, when you started this process, I mean, I remember that occasion when you came into Weider in 2000 in the summer, and you weighed about 210 pounds, and we said, there's no way he's going to make the Olympia.
Yeah.
And then you beat Ronnie Coleman 4 months later. Remarkable, muscle memory kicking in and everything. Were you surprised that you're able to duplicate it 13 years later, or are you even gaining muscle faster than you did, say, 13 years ago?
I actually think, because I'm taking it a lot more serious now, I have time, started the process in January. I actually, and because I know I have so much to prove and I have so much riding, so many people, my fans around the world, and so many people that are supporting me, that I have to go and train a little harder. I have to push myself a little harder. I have to diet a little longer, and I have to just. There's no time to even pull back and cruise this thing. Where when I was competing on Olympia stage, there was times, Peter, where I would hit the cruise control button because I knew politically that it was going to go to Dorian Yates. I knew politically that they probably wouldn't let anybody beat Ronnie Coleman. And there was years where I got chastised from people saying, well, Levrone's legs went down or something went down. And I told you this, Peter, it wasn't that something went down. It's just that I wasn't 100% as long as I should have been, because I already knew what the outcome was going to be. There's years when I did put the hammer down and I saw a huge difference in my physique. One of those years was 2000. One of those years was 95 up against Dorian Yates. One of those years was 97 when I won the Arnold Classic against Flex. 94, Night of Champions. So I know where I went 100% and where I had to, and I know where I backed up. Right now I'm at 100%, and I feel good about where I'm at. I still have a long way to go. I'm going to put on about 10 more pounds of muscle, and you guys know that I grow into a show. So the process, it's not really a learning process. I'm just applying everything that I know 100%. Without any lagway in between. So I've actually even started working on my posing routine already, and normally I wouldn't even do that.
Well, Kevin, when we talk about comebacks in the world of bodybuilding, they are few and far between. I think we could probably agree, Peter, the best comeback of all time to me still was probably Arnold, after a 5-year layoff, coming back in 80 and obviously winning the Olympia. Now, you're talking a 5-year layoff and a much younger Arnold Schwarzenegger than you are now, Kevin, coming back. So how does it feel knowing that the odds are kind of stacked against you? But what's a win for Kevin Levrone at this Olympia? Is it top 15? Is it top 10, top 6? Or, I mean, obviously you're going to win the show, mentally. But what's a win for Kevin Levrone?
A win for me would be going into this show placing higher than I did at my last Olympia. And everyone knows my last Olympia, I placed 6, but nobody even really probably knows about that.
Peter knows.
I certainly, yeah. So, for me, Bob, I'm going to give it all. I'm going to give it 100%, and I'm going to go on this show like anything else that would click in my brain, of with the attitude to win. I'm not going in here with the attitude to place or to do anything. I'm going in here with everything that I've known compiled up through all the entire years, and I'm going to present that on stage. Mind, body, and spirit. That's what I do, and that's what I do best. I'm a bodybuilder that competes to win.
And what sort of, Kevin, you've been shredded like in 92, you were big in 2000. What look are you aiming for this time? What Levrone should we see?
I don't really want to disclose that right now and go into those things, but there's three striking ranges that I do have. But going back to what you were saying earlier, Bob, about the age and everything, everybody ages differently. Everybody, they really do. They age differently. So
look at Peter. He's 104.
Yeah. Age is a number compared to what you do to your body and your genetics. Okay. Somebody at my age right now, it's unheard of for them to bench 405 for 10, but I could do it on the bench. It's unheard of for them to squat the weight that I'm doing right now, but I can still do it. So right now, age isn't really the factor for what it is that I'm trying to do. It's just the fact that mentally of getting over the fact that, hey, I got to do it. So the striking ranges that I do have, when I first turned pro, second to Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates, the ripped shredded look, okay? Night of Champions ripped shredded look. The 94 Arnold Classic ripped shredded look. I depending on who I'm up against, I will decide what look I need to bring. Also, Flex Wheeler, 97 Arnold Classic, I was 257 on stage. I out-muscled him because I knew that he had the streamlines. He had that pretty physique. I cannot come down streamline and stand next to Flex Wheeler because he would beat me on lines. I knew that at that point that I had to come in shape and outmass him. And that's why I won the show. Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman. I knew where my striking range with what these guys were. It wasn't at a 250 range where I'm way, way up there. I had to come in somewhere in between. And that's what I did. In 2000, I came in with the best of those both two world packages that I just told you guys about. And, hey, I felt like I beat Ronnie in 2000. I actually got him booed off stage, and Ronnie probably had me by 30 pounds of muscle. So that being said, again, I'm a confident bodybuilder, man. I'm not cocky. I'm just confident. I know my game. I know the stage. I know what I'm up against, and I know what package I got to bring in there. So that's all I'm saying,
Kevin, you've always been heralded as on stage. You've got stagecraft. You've got the nouns up here. The strategy of how to pose, when to hit a pose, who to hold a pose with, who to get out of a pose with quickly.
Yeah.
Are you excited to get back into that comparison, white heat, hot house of competition?
I'm very excited about it. Game to compete at that level, it's like playing a game of chess. You need the personalities come into play. Where these guys live come into play. What kind of music they listen to. I already know all this stuff about these guys. What they pose to on stage. So all of these things come into fact with me coming up with the strategy of who I got to go up against and what I need to do. Their posing, I already know their poses. I know the weak poses. I know their strong poses. I know how to counter-react to all these things. And I don't think people are thinking about this. They're just saying, "Oh, this is a 50-some-year-old man who's trying to compete in today's times." They're forgetting about all that experience. And just you got to think about all that. Especially if this guy's healthy, if this guy's got like time on his side, and I mean, why wouldn't anybody see that as a threat? If they don't see it as a threat, then they haven't done their homework.
Well, Kev, give me your opinion on today's top guys: Phil Heath, Dexter Jackson, Sean Roden. What do you think about these? Let's just call them the top three guys at this point. Big Ramy.
Dexter Jackson, one of the best in the world, previous Mr. Olympia. I think Dexter's comfortable. I see it in his presentation. And that's cool. Whatever he's doing now, he's winning. So that's working for him. Phil Heath, I think Phil's got the complete package. I don't think Phil's been being pushed right now. And he certainly, he's a gifted bodybuilder.
No pun intended.
Phil, at his best, is very, very dangerous, man. The guy body speaks for itself. I think he needs to be on to be at his best, because if he's not on, then you could actually see what happens. Dexter creeped up on him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So Phil Heath, as where he is, he's not a Dorian Yates, who can be slight off and still just overpower everybody. Not a Ronnie Coleman who can be not quite there and still just dominate that stage. So for him, he has to be spot on. If there's somebody on that stage that knows what they're doing and that could probably overpower him, so That's kind of like where I'm at with him. I think he knows right now that there's no competition out there for him, and he's probably going to step his game up. I don't think he's going to sleep on this one. Far as the other guys out there, I think Kai Green is settled into who he is. He's very comfortable in his skin, and he's an artist, and I think we're going to see Kai Green, just the Kai Green that we've always saw.
Kevin,
that's what you're going to see on stage.
Let me interject real quick on that one, because I've got to ask you this. I'd be remiss, Peter, if I didn't ask him this question. Kai Green, what's your take on last year's events and potentially this year's events that he's basically choosing to sit out the Olympia? Your thoughts?
Peter's thoughts?
No, yours, Kevin.
I mean, you never know what a man's decisions are or why he's making the decisions. So I don't know why. I don't know his reasoning for doing it. So I really can't really go there and say what's going on in his life for him to make those decisions.
Bob, you touched on it before. We talked about two Kevin Levrones. Yeah. There's always been different textures to Kevin's personality, which I got to know very well. There's the laid-back Kevin who doesn't give a damn. I've seen him at contests. He's the one backstage, carousing around, still having fun. People think he's not taking it seriously. But then you hear what he says about sizing people up, and it's all part of his mythology. I remember the 92 Olympia. I'd only spoken to you briefly. And the day before, everybody's in the hotel rooms, sealed away, doing whatever they do. Kevin's walking around the hotel, glad-handing everybody, pinching French fries off people's plates. I thought, he's too laid back. He's not ready for this. Of course, the next day he came in and bang, he's second in the Olympia. So there's the affable side of Kevin, and then there's the thinking man who really knows a lot about this sport. I mean, he's gifted, but he makes use of those gifts in the correct way because he's very technical in the way he approaches it. So, Kevin, just tell me about that. Backstage, you were always... Sean was like that as well. The rest of the guys were waiting for whatever, and you were walking around talking to the press, talking to different competitors. What's that backstage strategy of yours all about?
When I'm like that, I'm comfortable and I know that I've done all my work. It's just probably trying to get the guys in a different mindset and kind of get them to think that, he's not really taking this thing too serious. But all at the same time, it's like my mind is still calculating how to win the show and sizing them up and watching everything that they're doing. I'm talking to you guys like I would be talking to you out of if you were sitting here right with me. And unfortunately, the world is going to know now a little more about me than what they thought, and they're probably going to say, "Wow, this guy, there's a lot going on. What he's saying kind of makes sense." But yeah, that's it. That's what I do. That's what I do, man.
Well, Kevin, let me fast forward. It's Thursday, Olympia week, and we are at the press conference. And you're seated there now with Phil Heath and Roden and Wolf and all the characters, Dexter, Big Ramy, all the new guys, that we're projecting that of course will be there. And we've got some good new talent that's certainly coming up. What can we expect from Kevin at the press conference? Now, you've been at almost all the press conferences over the last 10 years, Kevin, in some way, shape, or form. So you've seen it's a little bit different these days, how it's handled and all that kind of stuff. What kind of Kevin Levrone are you going to have on that press conference?
I don't know. I might be one of the first guys to take my shirt off.
Well, we haven't seen that in a while, Peter.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe. Why not? Have a little bit of fun with it, man.
I think it'd be great. I mean, honestly, Peter, I can't wait to get Kevin in that press conference, sitting between Phil Heath and Dexter Jackson. And Dex, I mean, you guys love to go back and forth. He's got a great sense of humor and all that kind of stuff. But I can see some smack talk coming out.
So I mean, it's like, what do you got to worry about this old man for, right? They don't have to worry. You guys don't have to worry about this old man. I'm an old guy here. I'm 50-some years old. Don't even worry about me.
Kevin, you should come onto the press conference. or a walker or something, and a deaf aid and all sorts.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Yep. So
That would be great.
But look,
Go ahead,
looking
Peter.
forward.
well, think about it though. I'm an old guy, right, Bob? I'm almost a senior citizen. Yeah, so.
Well, I can't agree with that
Ain't got
because
nothing
we're
to
about the
worry
same age. So,
Well, Bob, tell me this: where do you have me placing?
I got you in the top 25. How many guys we got in the show, Peter? 25. You know what? It's
Hey,
interesting
Peter.
because
Hey, Peter. I think everybody that was thinking Levrone's crazy for coming back, they forgot how deep I thought about this thing. Actually,
well, listen, we all know you're nuts. That's a given. That's why we love you. But here's the bottom line, and I've said this. Me and Peter have had this conversation. I haven't put out any predictions yet, but I have said this, and Peter will verify this. If there's anybody on this earth that could make this successful comeback, it's you. And I don't give that to anybody else. There's not one other bodybuilder, and I say that with all due respect, Kevin, of course. There's not one other bodybuilder on this earth I would give a chance. We would treat this as a novelty. Hey, okay, we're going to see this guy, we're going to see that guy. Yeah, they're going to get on the Olympia stage.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to see him back there, and they'll get a nice little golf clap. I didn't say that about you. I said, let me tell you something. Kevin and only Kevin could make this a reality, could get on that stage, stand with these guys 13 years past your last Olympia.
13 years.
13 years, and turn back the hands of time. I think people may be surprised at what Kevin shows up. That
would be amazing, because what we're trying to do is take a bodybuilder from the 90s, in the 90s condition, and put him on stage with these guys now. That's what we're trying to do. And I'm gonna give it all I can do, all that's in me, to try to do that and give the fans one hell of a show, man. And that's my dedication to the sport. We need it, and that's why I'm doing it, because I think I can probably pull it off. Hey guys, can you guys hold tight real quick?
Sure.
I got to go to the bathroom, okay? So I'm gonna take a little break.
Well, this is a first, Peter. Well, go ahead, Kev. Take care of biz. We'll talk amongst ourselves, but
I can edit.
Yeah, well,
no, you know what? Don't edit it. Leave it in.
it's just me and you, Bob. Kevin's full of shit. We know that. This is all over here.
I knew something was coming out of that one, but